was making sure you looked like your photos. And if you
Yeah.
don't look like your photos and you have gained some weight or your hair has changed, it's fine, but you do need to let your agency know, and you need to stay up to date with your digitals or your headshots, because it's almost false advertisement if you get booked for a job
Yeah.
and you show up and you don't look like the way your agency submitted
What's
you.
up,
And
people? Welcome to Tips by Tibbs. We are here with a special guest, Willow Star. Willow is a how you doing? Willow is a Chicago-based model. But I'll let her tell a little bit about herself, and we're gonna get into an interesting conversation.
yeah, hi guys. My name is Willow Starr. That is actually my real name. I have some really great hippie parents. I am originally from a beautiful beach town of Santa Cruz, California, born and raised, and I moved out to Chicago in 2009, where I transferred to Columbia College, Chicago, to pursue my career for college, as well as dance and choreography. And about halfway through that, I started networking with the photography department and building my portfolio so much that by the time I graduated, I had actually a full book of work that I was ready to go and apply for some agencies. And ended up being needed more time on set, as I was actually still teaching swimming and coaching and lifeguarding and doing musical theater for children and dancing and modeling. And I had decided that I wanted to dive in and model full time. And here we are 10 years later.
10 years. Wow, 10 years. And I'm glad you said that about your name because I was always wondering that. I was like, is that an Instagram name? Or is
No, it is.
that?
I know I always get asked, it's a stage name. And I was like, actually,
Yeah.
I have some great hippie parents. So I'm named after the late 80s movie Willow, 88. Big ups.
Okay. All right.
And then Star, my grandparents actually saw a shooting star when I was born. So they went with Star.
You know what? This is your destiny because that name in being in entertainment, I mean, it's just like it goes hand in hand.
I think they knew I was destined for something different.
So you said you were doing dance. So you were
Yes.
just active your whole life. Um, so what kind of steered you into just wanting to do modeling? Do you do acting at all? Or just
I'm
stage.
breaking more into, so I'm technically called a commercial print lifestyle model. So you'd see a lot more of my work in magazines or billboards and online ads and stuff like that. But I've gotten more into on camera work actually in the last year or two. So I've done a couple commercials, I've done some stand in work and things like that. But yeah, always been active. Dance was my passion and my drive for actually getting me to Chicago. And then it was also kind of just came into play with modeling. When I was a child, I loved picture day, and picture day is
Mm,
one day a year.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
everybody was like, Willow, we don't even want to see your student body card. We already know you have a great picture. And it was just something I absolutely loved. And people who got really scared in front of the camera, I felt like I could be myself. And it was something that I was 7 years old and I looked up at a billboard and I said, Mom, this is what I want to do. And I was very, very blessed to have a family who fully supported my dreams and let me try everything. And they were like, okay. And I didn't really know how I was going to make it happen, but if there's a will, there's a way. So when I first moved here and I was dancing, my body shape was a lot different. I was a lot strong. I was a lot more muscular, because I was dancing Monday through
Dancing.
Friday. And so I had a lot more, I was considered when I walked into a casting room very fit. So because I was shorter, I'm only 5'7", they saw strong legs, big arms, and what was not an ideal model body type, right?
Right.
So I had always felt like when I first started, I was trying to separate myself from this fit look that in the modeling world was not acceptable, right? Or not
Yeah.
trending,
Touch more
right?
on that because so you didn't really lift weights, right? It was just your
No,
body.
not yet. Not yet. I didn't
Okay.
start lifting weights until COVID.
Ah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that kind of sparked a whole new area of exercise for me, because I had to create a new routine because I couldn't go to the gym.
Yeah.
And I knew that work was going to, once the world opened back up, world was going to be ready for work, and I had to be ready for work. So I didn't
Yeah.
have time to gain that quarantine 15 or, whatever they had and stuff like that. So I actually got into a whole at home workout routine, and I got dumbbells and pretty much shifted completely, and my body has done a 180 pretty much since that.
Well, let's touch on that. since we're talking about the different body types and the different, I guess, looks
Yeah.
in the industry, you said that so you were just doing runway. Is that
No.
why it's a certain look, or because you
Well,
said you were more muscular?
when I first started, let's be real, the commercial world too itself wasn't as accepting to plus size girls, right? Or
Okay, okay,
there really wasn't yet a fitness style of modeling yet. So you would
yeah,
see active, yeah, you see Nike, yeah, you see this, but those girls were still very lean, right? A lot
yeah,
of them ran and things like that. And so you weren't seeing as you could say, strong or muscular women necessarily on the runway or more lifestyle, right? More your
yeah.
at home kind of look and stuff like that. And so it wasn't until I started kind of transitioning my workouts, right, that my
Mhm.
body type changed a little bit more. I leaned out. I became more aware of what I was eating. Obviously, I wasn't surviving on, college dorm room food and things like that, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that also helped geared, and as well as I was shifting, thankfully, so was the industry a little bit too, right? So, which helped. And now it's like I'm considered, now I'm considered too small,
All
right?
right, so let's talk about the pressure that comes with that, right? So you're getting into the industry, and you're literally your physical has to look a certain way, right? So touch on the pressure of knowing, okay, this is a job. My physical has to look a certain way in order for me to provide income. So
Mm-hmm.
if you don't mind, touch on that pressure, if
Yeah.
you feel any pressure.
Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh. I mean, just also being, I think, not 6 foot tall, right? Because I was shorter, I had to work that much harder to give myself a presence in a room where those girls were 0 to 2, and I was of more 4 to 6, right? Or a size, right?
But that's the thing. So like in modeling, I would think the taller person would be more for like runway, and then like prints it didn't matter, right? Or
It's
commercials.
kind of all over the board. And some girls that might actually photograph taller, you might see them in real life and they might actually be shorter. So, but yes, runway, there was still very much the stigma of you need to be, 5'9". A lot of agencies wouldn't even look at me because I wasn't 5'9", or because of my age, I wasn't growing anymore, right?
Okay.
So,
Wow. Okay, so what comes along with that? So like because you obviously you when you get booked, it could be anywhere. So you're traveling a lot, right? How do you stay consistent with your meals or your exercising, or paying attention because you're on the go? How do you can you touch on that? 'Cause, that might
yeah.
help someone. How do you stay
Oh, yeah,
focused and stay consistent?
for sure. And I think COVID actually helped me when it came to learning how to redirect my exercises for smaller spaces because I
Mm,
was working out at home. And so I was trying to figure out, once I was traveling again for modeling, how can I bring this with me, right? And so sometimes I was not comfortable going into a hotel gym just yet, but I would bring my own weights. If I was driving, I would bring my own weights with me and I would work out in my hotel room. And food, yes, mainly making sure that I would always consistently eating my protein. So even that it was a fish, a chicken, or some sort of meal that also included veggies, and something that would make sure that I was getting all of the necessities that I
mm.
needed, to keep myself full as well as coherent, to be actively attentive on set when I'm having to take directions and calls and, things like that.
Because I mean, let's face it, when you go to these hotels and things, a lot of times they're not. You can't find anything that's like healthy or for whatever goals that you may have. So you're just grabbing something quick, whatever grill they have. So
Yeah.
um,
I've even gotten to port where, I've kind of asked, making sure the hotel has like a little mini kitchen area or even a microwave so that I can maybe bop to
make your
Aldi
own.
and grab a couple, chickpeas here or something here so I can heat this up and mix this with this and make my own little like Asian kitchen, chicken salad or something like that. Just that so I can feel better about, waking up in the morning and being my best self on set and not, having a chicken parmesan sandwich the night before or something like
Right.
that.
Or even staying with mental clarity, because a lot of times when you're uh, let's say you're in a weight loss goal, right? And now you're feeling hungry, but you have to focus on, your job or whatever it is that you're doing. That can be tough too. To have that mental clarity where you're not feeling hungry all the time or not feeling bloated, right? In your world, you don't want to be bloated on set, on camera, because it's all
Yeah.
about the.
Yeah. Well, and
So talk about.
I've gotten into, it's not, I've gotten into, I do quite a bit of intermediate fasting too sometimes, which
Okay,
sometimes, subconsciously, sometimes that happens without me doing it on purpose. But knowing that, hey, okay, I'm going to have two hard boiled eggs for breakfast and then I'm going to be on set and I may not eat again, till lunch. But sometimes when I'm so focused and in the mode, as long as I've got, water and I've got a couple nuts or maybe an apple or some protein nearby,
just
I'll,
grazing.
yep, exactly.
Yeah. So let's. I want people to be able to find you. What are your socials, or you have a website? Let's talk about what you're doing right now, because I see you all over the
Yeah.
place. I
Yeah.
mean,
Thank
hey,
you.
hey, 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 people out there, I'm telling you, she's everywhere. So let's just touch on a few projects that some things that you might be excited about that you're doing, or something that's coming up. Um,
Yeah. Well, so you guys can find me. My Instagram handle is willowstar26 and my website is willowstarmodel.com.
and we'll put
Um,
that in.
Yes, and I actively, so right now we've got a fashion show later this week. I'm actually on hold for a couple jobs coming up for the end of June, and I am very excited to share. I actually just signed with a North Carolina agency. So we are
Oh,
continuing to work on expanding and growing my market. So I feel like I've kind of cultivated the Midwest, the Chicago, Michigan, Wisconsin, Indianapolis market. I've got an agent in New York. We've got one now in North Carolina. So just continuing to expand and grow so I can take over the US.
that is awesome. That is awesome. I mean, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing you everywhere. I'm just like, wow. That's why I said it's such an honor to have you on. Um, I wanted to ask you, okay, all these agencies. Let's try to, if you can, if you're allowed to, let's try to dig into the behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Are these agencies actually sitting you down and saying, hey, you got to watch your weight. Hey, you got to have your hair a certain way. Hey, are they having these conversations, or is this just something that you just kind of know? You just know to keep this, a certain way.
So I feel like when I first started in the industry about 10 years ago, that was something that was definitely more done when you first had your meeting with them. That was like, hey, if you change your hair, you need to let us know so we can update photos. And it wasn't really until COVID, honestly, afterwards, because of the world turned into a lot more self-tape world. And so people were being submitted and now they're adding filters and all these things. And people were
Mm.
showing up not looking like their photos. Like, I mean, you laugh, but like, I mean, there was a gentleman who has submitted his headshot from like 1987 and it is 2022 or whatever it was. And it's like, wow, you were how many years older than this headshot? So just kind of staying with it is something that your agency is really going to appreciate. But the big thing was once COVID and the world opened back up was making sure you looked like your photos. And if you
Yeah,
don't look like your photos and you have gained some weight or your hair has changed, it's fine, but you do need to let your agency know and you need to stay up to date with your digitals or your headshots because it's almost false advertisement if you get booked for a job
yeah,
and you show up and you don't look like the way your agency submitted you and your agency can get in trouble for that and then that also falls back on you because your communication with your agency hasn't been the most forefront.
yeah. I mean, I'm experiencing that a little bit right now because I have two sons that model, and they have long hair, and they specifically said, "Hey, don't cut their hair. This is how we're casting them. This is the look. So if they show up without their hair, it's just not a good thing." So I'm actually
Yeah.
going through that right now myself. Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially in the world now too, because the thing is, I think what talent need to be aware of is you are a blank canvas, right? So your client that they are submitting you to wants to see you in your purest, your form and your most natural hair as possible because you're so easy to put hair and makeup on and done you up in a different way that may not even be recognizable to your photos, right? But they
Mm-hmm.
want to know that, okay, here's the foundation of what we know we're looking at, and what we're going to get in the long one. And we can play around, and we can pin or do something different, braid or whatever to their hair, but in the long run, this is what we're getting, and this is what they look like.
They want to know when they see those photos, that's the person that they saw,
Oh
right?
yeah. And actually one of my biggest compliments I have received in this industry is when I show up on set, people are like, "Oh my God, you look like your photos." Like, and some people were like, "Oh my God, you even look pretty in person." I'm like, "Oh, well, thank you." But that's a big compliment for me to know that I look exactly as I come off in my photos. Cause there's some people, there's girls who in person might come off a little more timid or look completely different, and they get in front of that camera and like it's a whole new them.
Yeah, but you have a unique gift. Like, you're very photogenic. Like, when I see your stuff that you post, and your photos, the videos, I'm just like, it's like a little. It's like I said, your name, everything goes with it. It's like
Oh, thank you.
you're a star.
Thank you. Thank you. Well,
Definitely.
I tell you, when you're for one day a year is picture day, you got to nail it, and you only get one shot. So,
All right. So if there's someone out there that's inspiring to be in your shoes, they're inspired by this video. Like, man, I always wanted to be a model, and I worried about those things. Um, Kind of speak to that person, and tell them, give them some advice on that road that you're on.
yeah. Well, honestly, if it is a dream of yours, it is not something that is not achievable, because I believe that I am literally that example of what an ideal woman was not to look like for a model, and have broken all those barriers. So I'm 5'7". I'm a little shorter than usual, but I still get to rock the runway with girls that are 5'9", 6 foot, and even taller. I just know that I have to show up with a stronger presence. And I do. And so when it comes to cultivating my health and my wellness and really staying active for that, sometimes it has to go with what makes me feel good. And that is, at the end of the day, going to push the best you forward. And these clients, if they're going to want to book you, they're going to see who you are right when they see your photos, and right when they see that self tape. If you're trying to pretend to be somebody else, they're going to see it. They're not going to feel like this is a genuine person, and they're going to move on. So you have to remember that it's all about what makes you happy, what makes your clothes feel good, what makes you want to get outside and be the best you, because in the end, that's going to showcase and show up in every other aspect of your life.
Awesome. Those are very inspirational words. I'm sure someone's out there going to see this and like, okay, I can do this.
As always, my content is sponsored by C Squared Nutrition, where quality nutrition meets your nutritional needs. Head over to the website, www.ctibbs.com. Type in code TIPS by Tibbs for your discount. I ain't tired, man. I just put in work. I just came to work.